Hi, Erik. Welcome to the Future Proof Operations podcast.
Many thanks for the invite. Great to be here.
Great to have you on the show. Today we will speak about logistics, supply chain, innovation, and how everything belongs together. So as a kickstart, could you give us an introduction in a nutshell how you contribute to the overall strategy of DB Schenker and what you are actually doing as a VP of Global Innovation?
Great question, good question, because innovation is always a big word for many, many things. And of course, caring about innovation within a huge and global logistics company. I'm always telling the people all the crazy stuff, all the topics that are not fitting to our current business models, to our current environment, that's popping up on our desk. And we always have to find out, is there something in it for us? Is it an opportunity? Is it a threat? Is it a chance? Is it a possibility? Will this replace maybe a customer, or is there maybe even a new supplier or a new partner in that? So for our task, our responsibility is always to understand the pains, the demands of the organization, and then trying to find new topics, new technologies, new possibilities to solve that. And of course, being the entrance for startups, for R&D things, for everything that might change the logistics by tomorrow. Also to be, let's say, the openness and having this kind of possibility that these kind of companies can reach out to us. And we're always trying to match them then with the right people within our organization.
Erik, before we go into depth, we have to set the foundation for our listeners. In some simple words from your side, what is the difference of supply chain and logistics, or what is it in general?
Wow, that's a good one, a good question. So let's say supply chain is then the entire topic to bring things from A to B. So the supply chain is really then a fragmented timeline. To say it's always there's a physical timeline and there's also kind of an information timeline, because when it comes to supply chain orchestration, supply chain management, is all the management, how to organize to bring shipments, goods, cartons, parcels, things from A to B. This on the global scale. And logistics in total, that's more the umbrella, I would say, to really to understand everything that is needed to orchestrate and to be, let's say, the steerer of such an environment. And logistics is sometimes mostly related also to in-house logistics, so all the things in the operations that's handled within the four walls, within one building and terminal or warehouse. And the supply chain is then really what is, let's say, bringing things to this warehouse. But sometimes people also mixing this up, and I think there's also not a clear definition what is the one way or the other way. But I would say logistics is the umbrella of everything, but when we are talking about logistics, mostly dedicated in the four walls, and supply chain is always along the transportation, land transport, air freight, ocean freight, rail freight, also something that brings things from one point to the other.
Help us to understand what is the current state of that umbrella and what are the challenges. So you named it umbrella, it is the logistics industry. How would you describe the current state and its challenges?
Also, I would say there are many, many challenges. When you come to logistics, of course, we have the same challenges like other industries as well. We have a mass digitalization, we have sustainability, we have a personal shortage of many, many disciplines. So, for example, truck driver shortage, that's a huge pain within the whole Europe, but also globally. I don't know if you know the average age of a German truck driver. What is your guess? What do you guess is the average age?
50?
Oh, would be great. So in some areas, we're talking about 58 already.
Really?
And that's really the average. So we're really running out of good truck drivers, and we are losing only in Germany around 25,000 to normal retirement every single year. And only 15,000 new driver licenses are handed out. And these people are not directly truck drivers. I think in whole Europe, we have right now around 380,000 so a gap of 380,000 truck drivers right now. And so we are desperately trying to find new ones. And of course, we can't replace them with even more people from Eastern countries, whatever, because they're already there. So therefore, we as an industry now really have to think, okay, how can we make this job profile more attractive? How about remote driving, autonomous driving, all these kind of trends? And that's not because we want to get rid of truck drivers. Absolutely not. We would love to hire even more of them, but again, they are not there. So that's one major point. But of course, as I said, also this working from home, that is a new topic within logistics as well. But I would say when it comes to the major three parts right now in logistics, here we really see the topic of sustainability, visibility, and also automatization. So these are the most important topics right now.
Yeah, you named that 3 pillars already. We had that on the preparation call, and you said there are a lot of challenges right now in the industry. And of course, you are caring about the innovation and the technology which can counteract that challenges. And you named that 3 pillars of automation, sustainability, and visibility/digitalization, where a lot of innovation can happen. And these innovation can then counteract all the challenges which are currently happening. So I would like to go through that 3 different pillars or things that you named and talk a little bit about the specific innovation which you are working on every day. Before we do that, help us to understand why that 3. So are they do they have the biggest priority, or are there a lot of others connected to it? Help us to understand how you came to that 3 pillars.
So we are doing it from our company, but other companies do that's quite similar. We are doing a kind of a trend survey every year to really to find out what is where's the pain at the moment right now coming from, and what kind of topics do we have to tackle in the first step? Because we are a huge company in a global on a global scale, but even we are not able to care about everything with the same resources, with the same budgets. So therefore, you need somehow a kind of a prioritization. And coming from this kind of trend report, we are always trying to find out what is now really the topic that we have to do in the first step. And then we really found out for our trend report 2023 that this new work, messagization, climate change, workforce shortage, so all around, then also sustainability are the top 3-4 points that we really have to take care. But of course, there are many other things, like also multi-regional logistic topics, new talent impact, and also new technologies. AI is a big thing, and I think they even say that the year 2023 was the year of AI, because now really everybody understood it, that is a normal thing. So there are many things that are combined and also connected, and it's always then for us the point where to spend your coins on, because you can't do everything in the same time, and also to understand where is the biggest pain from our customer side, because in the end we are not doing logistics because we love logistics. Nevertheless, we really love logistics, but of course we are doing this by a purpose and to create value for our customers. So therefore also to understand what's the biggest pain for our customers right now, and then these 3 topics are popping up right now every time and everywhere.
Let's go through them. You named it already: shortage of drivers, autonomous driving. How you and how DB Schenker thinks about automation?
I would say automation is a must-have. And when I'm talking about automatization, or let's say first step, remote driving or autonomization. So there's always a kind of a path and a way to develop the things in this direction. We have 3 different topics. We have within the 4 walls, there are somehow self-driving robots, the so-called HUVs and AMRs. That's already existing. So these topics, these robots, they're getting more cleverer every time. It's fantastic. They are now interacting in the same environment where also people are. So that robot is really taking care about the person, supporting, helps the people within the warehouse. That's already done. I would say technology existing. Then you have the yard, so the area where your facility is, and your branch and your terminal. There we have already some good pilot projects, some R&D topics with self-driving trucks and bringing really swap bodies and trailers from A to B, to a gate, off a gate, on the parking place, whatever. So all this kind of shunting, how we call it, that's already technical-wise already possible. Challenging-wise, the business case is not the best right now, but we are working on this to make it even more attractive. But I would guess within the next months and short years, we are really seeing this on a bigger scale, and we'll use topics like that. And of course, number 3, the biggest challenge is then really driving autonomous on the street, where within the normal traffic, with all the people, the bikes, the buses, the kids on the street, and of course that is something that's the biggest challenge. But even there, lots of things have changed within the last months, and if you would have asked me maybe the same question last year, I would give you the answer that we are expecting the first autonomous cars maybe in 2030, 2031 too, somewhere on the street. But this year, I would say, let's break it down to 27, 28, because so many things have happened within this year. AI is getting way more better. Technology has done huge steps into this direction. And what maybe no one really recognized, even Germany. And really, it's Germany, not Singapore, Dubai, Singapore, Silicon Valley. Germany has changed the law. So from the legal aspect, we would, in a B2B context, what we as Schenker are doing, we could drive directly from a legal aspect from Munich to Hamburg without a driver cabin, without a driver, fully autonomously. Legal-wise, done. Technology-wise, small challenge, but even that might be a possibility. But why don't we do that then right now? Because we would need 5G coverage everywhere. That's a small pain right now in Germany. But of course, many startups are now coming here really to Germany, testing their technologies here because the legal setup is there. There are also some companies like Daimler that applied already for a higher speed, because I think it's right now, if I'm correctly, around 60 kilometer per hour. And they applied already for 80, 100, 120 to get also the possibility within for this. So it's coming. That's only land transport. By the way, rail technology already possible, ocean freight already, unmanned ships, that's how they call it, already possible, and even air freight, so self-flying airplanes, already somehow possible. Legal aspect is a little bit challenging there, but from the technology, we will see crazy things within the next months.
Let's stick with the autonomous trucks for some more minutes. That's super exciting and surprising for me, because as a normal user, which is not an expert in logistics, it feels like every year Elon Musk, for example, is talking about the autonomous taxi and it will come soon. And then it already took now a lot of years and it's not there yet. And now you are super precise in your forecast and you say 27, 28 will be the years where we can bring the autonomous trucks to real life. And you say it can happen or it will happen in Germany, which is surprising for me as well. How did we get there? So as you said, there was a lot of stuff happening in the last 2 years in terms of AI. Have there been other accelerators in the industry that we are now looking forward, looking to it so positively?
Yeah, many of the OEMs are working on this topic. And of course, with the trucks, you can really capture many data. Also, as Elon Musk with all his Tesla cars, they are collecting data like hell. Google is collecting data crazy. And so therefore, the network, so also this kind of LiDAR radars in Zurich of these trucks and vehicles and cars are getting that much better. And now with the combination of an AI, they can really think about it. What does that mean to have all these data and to combine that and to really to react in milliseconds if there is something happening? And that is something what you really need. You have to have a reaction in milliseconds, really on the truck, on the car, on the van, when there's something happening. And this kind of technology has done huge steps. And all this AI things, ChatGPT is one thing. And believe me, that's the small thing what we see as a private person, maybe in the internet. They are way more crazy things. I do not expect, also to be correct here, that autonomous driving will be there everywhere in 27, 28. But we will have the first autobahns in Germany, the first highways on a certain lanes in certain highways, but in public transport. So in the public traffic, where they can really drive. And again, for us, that is really an interesting situation, because again, we are running out of truck drivers, one thing. Getting the job profile more attractive, because still with autonomous truck, you need people who knows how such a vehicle will react, and for loading, unloading, and maybe when we are driving on the highway, then the last mile from the highway then to the branch, to the customer, that maybe sometimes have a person still to do. And then we're also talking about remote driving. So that means an operator is then jumping virtually on such a truck and then driving this truck then for the last kilometers to the terminal or to the customer. So it will be a combination. I think we will start with this remote driving, and there are many cool startups like Fanride, for example, from Germany, who are really doing this right now. And that's better than we also expected that. And really driving remote is an interesting one. It's also for all the PlayStation generation fantastic, because then they are sitting, it's really like a home office for the truck driver, because you're really sitting at home up behind a huge screen with a steering wheel, with your joystick and with your pedals, and then you can really drive a truck somewhere. And that's then really getting fantastic. By the way, the same is also existing for forklifts. Why not only driving remote a truck? We can also drive a boat, a forklift somewhere remote. So this kind of technology is getting even more integrated into the daily life. And then with all these integrations, we are learning. The systems are getting more clever, more intelligent, and then they're starting to combine. And that's exactly the way we want to do. And then even the job profile for the truck driver is getting more interesting, because that person who is today maybe 2-3 days on the road will then be every day at home, because the truck is driving by itself, then the long distance, and then only the last mile and the first mile will be done by a person. And that's more attractive also for people who might join this kind of job profile.
But you say there is one thing missing, and this is the connectivity thing. So 5G is necessary. And as we know, especially in Germany, it's very hard to have internet connection all the time. So as I understand, there need to be a 5G network, at least at the highways, that you can build it. Are you at DB Schenker somehow contributing to build that connectivity, that net? Or do you just need to wait? So how can you push that proactively?
So we are not building the network. So that's not our job. Of course, we can do somehow lobbying also to the politics and also to the government to tell them that would be possible, and also via all our institutes and companies where we are, let's say, combined, to really do exactly this kind of showing what might be possible, will be possible if this would be there. So also, and I think coming really with the sustainability approach, with the truck driver shortage, and also to use the roads in a more proper way, because we also have the topic with traffic jams, what costs billions of euros every year to the German industry. That's a topic with an autonomous car or truck. That's, by the way, also one thing that most of the people will not like with an autonomous car, because when we are driving a car by ourselves and we know its speed limit is 100, is it 110, 150 might be okay. An autonomous car will always follow the rules. It will drive 100. Punkt. If there is a 100, then speed limit is 100. Something where we have to find, let's say, a good way how to deal with that. But it also means when all people are driving the same speed with the same, then there will be less traffic jam. So there will be a huge impact for the whole industry. Of course, what is still missing, when there will be lots of autonomous cars, vans, trucks on the street, somehow an institute has to steer that. Like this kind of swarm. In the air freight, we have that with the Deutsche Flugsicherung. So that's the part who's really steering the traffic in the air. But we need something similar like Deutsche Flugsicherung on the road. And it can't be Schenker. It can't be a competitor of us, because then our trucks would always drive and our competition would always stand. So that's not the possibility. Of course, it must be somehow a legal setup from government somewhere. Maybe Deutsche Flugsicherung opening up a new business model. That might be a good one. And because they have all the technology, they have the setup for something like that. But that is also still missing. Because and as I said, for rail, it's way more easier. For air freight, it's way more easier. For ocean freight as well. The most challenging part is really road, because here you have all these things that you can't control. So therefore, the vehicle by itself must be really, really intelligent with lots of sensors and radars and LiDAR technology, because you have dog, cat, mouse, bicycles, people who are crossing the street, you have buses, you have so many things that you can't steer. So therefore, the vehicle by itself has to be the intelligent.
Very, very exciting. Very exciting, and I'm looking forward to see the first autonomous truck on a German highway. When we talk about autonomous trucks, we can then do the segue to electric trucks and bring it into the context of sustainability. You mentioned it at the beginning. How do you think about electric trucks, and is it the biggest leverage to be better in terms of sustainability, or do you see other innovations that are paying into it?
I think there's not only one topic who's paying into sustainability. Of course, you have to think about what kind of topics do you have, where are your emitters by today, and then we have land transport, air freight, ocean freight. We as Schenker, by example, we have 2,000 buildings. Also, these buildings are a huge emitter for CO2. But to reduce it, so first of all, you need a status quo where we are right now. So then you have all these topics, and by the way, we are as DB Schenker, part of Deutsche Bahn of DB, and 65 to 70% of the whole CO2 of whole Deutsche Bahn are coming from Schenker. So that's a huge pain, and we want to be CO2 neutral by 2040. So that's a huge step to go. And now we are starting, and the biggest emitter, by the way, is air freight. So this kerosene and all these flying things, that's the biggest portion of our whole cake when you see it as a kind of cake, where the CO2 is coming from. One big topic that people always underestimate how to reduce your carbon footprints are datas. Because when you seeing shipments and routes and where have to be something when and where it's coming from. And when you think about, we are using, as an example, 100 trucks somewhere, when you're then bringing all your shipments, your pickup, your delivery addresses, your routes, your traffic jam informations, whatever, into a system, and then you're calculating this in a better way, in a more efficient way, and then from your 100 trucks you can reduce it with good algorithm, with an AI system who's bringing you predictive what will be there and when, reducing your 100 trucks to 95 trucks. Then you reduced 5 trucks. And replacement from diesel to electric is always fantastic, but using data that 5 trucks are not needed is even better. Yeah. Because then you really reduce something. So therefore, and we are having in whole Europe around 30,000, 32,000 trucks every day on the street. And when you're then reducing this and optimizing this only by 1%, you can calculate that these are many trucks who are not on the street any longer. Electromobility, of course, is a huge topic. And as you said, Tesla is one of the topics. And Elon Musk announced his Tesla semi-truck, that truck can drive 700, 800 kilometers with one battery pack.
Is it the future? So is it the future to have electric trucks, or do you think of other technologies as well?
There are several. I think for the next years, electric will be the topic, because most of the OEMs are jumping on electric. And again, but here we also have some big challenges. So first of all, where is the truck coming from? Is there enough equipment available? So a funny number, maybe Schenker bought 2020. And we are number one in European land transport. We bought in 2020 50% of all electric trucks from Daimler. Everything what they have manufactured, we bought 50%. That's a cool marketing headline. But when you then know, okay, that have been exactly 36 trucks, okay, that's a big way and a long way to go. So we got last year around 100 something. So now we are having around 200 electric trucks already in Europe on the street. So the OEMs are not coming fast enough. So we really want to have that. But of course, then the electric truck is costing double or triple to a normal diesel truck. So the price is also a big topic. Normally, we are, as logistic people, are asset light. That means our subcontractors, they are having the trucks and the vehicles, and we are just booking them and renting them and using them. But now with all this higher price topics, we have to step more and more in, and we have to be the owner of the asset and buying the truck and then renting this then to our subcontractors. So also even here, our business model is changing. And maybe last step is then, even when you're having the electric trucks, how to charge them. Because the charging infrastructure in Germany is a big challenge. And the most of our branches are only able to, with their fast charger and slow charger, but a fast charger, you can maybe charge 3 to 4, maybe if you're in a lucky position, 5 trucks in parallel. But we do have in a normal branch 50 to 100 trucks. So, and then to charge 50 of them at the same time, then it's getting dark in the city next to you. And then if you're going to your local infrastructure provider and telling them we need a bigger power line because we have already electric forklifts, now we want to have electric trucks as well. And by the way, some people want to charge their cars. Then they come like, yeah, Schenker, possible. Will take around 5 to 10 years because we have to build up completely new infrastructure. And that's really a big pain and a big challenge for the entire industry. It's not only a Schenker topic. So therefore, electric is interesting, will it be the answer for everything? I doubt that. So I don't think so. Therefore, hydrogen would be even more interesting. But again, we are one of the, maybe the number one in European land transport. We do have 2 hydrogen trucks right now. So even that, a big challenge. Where to get them from? They're way more expensive than an electric truck. And even if you would have them, where's the green hydrogen, not the gray one, the green one, where's that coming from? Because of course, in Germany, we are talking now a lot about hydrogen and huge pipelines that will be built up, but they are going in the first step to the heavy industry. They need hydrogen like hell. Before logistic is getting then really green hydrogen, that will take some years. But nevertheless, we are testing as an industry everything that is somehow possible. Even we have gas, we have LNG, we have tube concepts that will be tested in some areas. Crazy things. The biggest challenge for us as an industry is no one can tell us what will be the solution of the next 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
But we are driving.
But the biggest bet for you is right now the electric truck, right? As I understand, there's much more momentum in it than in hydrogen, for example.
Absolutely. So in Germany and in Europe, when you're going to Japan, they have more hydrogen. Scandinavia is thinking about hydrogen. In Germany, and here we are talking about electric. America is talking all about electric. But even there, we have Nikola, also some companies coming also with other things. But as you said, right now, we are doing a lots of bets on the topic of electromobility.
Okay.
And not only for the trucks, also for vans, also for trailers. Equipping a trailer with a battery pack, when you're taking a new trailer, then this has already a fresh battery and maybe helping also to support your driving. There are also these power lines. I don't know if you have seen this like a tram in the cities. Also with this pantograph to get some energy. We are not a part of that.
On some highways, I already saw it, but it's still a testing concept,
exactly,
right?
Yeah. And I think here in Frankfurt to Darmstadt, you have around 5 to 10 trucks who are using this in a testing. Yeah. Interesting. And it looks not that nice, but you really have to think about where to charge all these trucks in the future. And you can't bring them to a parking place somewhere on the Autobahn, because then there are already no spaces. And if you want them to stand there for hours to charge a truck, first of all, no space. And the second challenge, to charge 100, 150, 200 trucks on one point, that's simply not possible.
Yeah. Okay, got it. To summarize it, when it comes to sustainability, electric vehicles is an important thing, but it's not the only thing. As you said, it's about planes as well, it's about ships, and it's about optimizing the routes. And I think this is a good segue to start into our last pillar of visibility and digitalization. So how much data is there already and how much data is needed to have the optimal route? I would describe it like that, where you don't have some inefficiencies in it. And in our preparation call, we talked a little bit about it. And I said, hey, for me, it feels like there is already a lot of information, because when I click on my app and I want to know where my parcel is, then I can track the parcel. But then you said, no, there's much more data which we could bring into that data logistics cloud. So what are you thinking of currently?
So when you're talking about visibility or this mass digitalization, there are so many things. So logistics, first of all, we have, again, coming back to our beginning, to supply chain. So we have so many parties who are involved, and we know more or less all of them. We are generating information from the shipment. So what is it? What's the weight? What's the volume? What are maybe the dangerous goods information around that? Do we have some complaints? Do we have some qualities from some topics? And of course, that is, let's say, only the information that we are having. But then we also have topics like traffic situation, our recipients and the senders, information from them, and to bring all this in the kind of an ecosystem. And then with a kind of invisibility, we call it also IoT, so information of things, Internet of Things, to really get all this information together and to show that to a customer. That is then something where you as an end customer seeing this in your app, shipment is coming only 3 stops away. But that is for parcel. For the B2B, what we are doing, so 30 kilogram plus, is a little bit more tricky, because parcel is somehow easier and more advanced when it comes to this kind of visibility, because it's only stop information. In our way, we also have the topic of temperature, humidity, G-forces, vibrations. So there, when you think about healthcare products, then you really have to measure and capture the temperature and the humidity during the whole transport, also when you're changing the transport. So from a warehouse to a truck, to another warehouse, to another truck, then you always have to see that the temperature is always fantastic and that you really store that. Because in the end, if somebody is taking this and gets some serious issues, then legal-wise, you're a part of that. And then you really have to show, as long as we had it, everything was fine. So that's then also one big part. But visibility is getting better and better. And also for every kind of shipments in the upcoming future. Right now, it costs some more money to integrate it. Maybe when you think about tax and something to equip a sensor on the shipment, that is a sensor and that costs some cent or euros that you have to bring into your calculation. But it will be something like maybe also the some other topics from the past that have been more and more integrated. And therefore, I would say this kind of visibility will be a kind of a must-have. And if we don't provide that kind of visibility in the future, then we are out of business because customers are demanding for that. Maybe last sentence on that, because sometimes I'm always challenging that. Why do we do visibility? Because visibility is just, as you said, I want to track where's my shipment. But when you're ordering something and telling the logistic company the shipment should be there tomorrow 5:00, and when it's not until 5:00, you will never use a tracking system or click on the thing because 5:00 it will be there. 5 minutes after 5, you will maybe start. Okay, where's my shipment? So if we always would do what the customer is demanding for, the shipment should be there tomorrow at 5. We don't need tracking. This kind of visibility. There are many, many more things also for quality things. We need this kind of visibility. But from a customer experience, it would be even more fantastic if we are just there at 5 and maybe calling you at 5 after 5. Sorry, sir, your shipment will be somehow a little bit delayed. So it would be even more customer bonding.
And is it like you just need to implement more sensors, for example, and do it? Or are there some technical challenges currently that are hindering you to do that?
Both. So sensors is one thing, but when you have this kind of fragmented supply chain, then it's not always in the control of only Schenker. So for example, when you have an air freight or ocean freight, we are not the owner of the plane or of the boat. So therefore you have a party in between that you can't control because they are their own company. So therefore you need then APIs, connections to them, or getting the visibility directly from them into your systems. And therefore, we started as an industry with, we called it tracking events with scan events. So pick up, delivery. That was the first. Let's say 20 years ago, we typed that into a system. Now it's picked up, now it's delivered, always with a delay. Then we had a clear scan event, pick up and delivery. And then over the last 15 years, we go even more in time. And now we have it was always shorter periods. So it was then 5 times a day, 10 times a day, and then we had now really real time. And now we have really real time visibility. You can really see a blinking point on the map. Where's the truck? When will it be there? This blinking point on the map doesn't bring anything, but it looks fancy, and therefore we all have that. But in the end, it's all about this ETA, estimated time of arrival. When will the shipment be there? Because if there are maybe an issue, a problem, a delay, then you can directly inform your customer, this shipment will be late. Should we change something? Should we bring it back? Should we destroy it? Whatever should we do with that? Or is it all fine? But that is then something what we have learned over the last years, that this kind of real-time visibility is interesting. And it's real-time visibility is for your shipments. And now it's getting even more interesting with, for example, traffic information. Because when you have then the real-time traffic information with your shipments, with your routes, and bringing this all in a system, this is a huge calculation. And that's even not that easy to bring then your routes and your topics into that. First companies are there who can really do this. And we need this kind of information for autonomous driving in the end. Because then you really need shipment, routes, traffic, transport management system, all in a huge ecosystem of environment. That will be the future.
Awesome. So in a nutshell, there is already some data there. You are able to track containers. You have the GPS data, but in future it will be about more and different data points as well to make the routes more and more efficient. Unfortunately, Erik, we are already coming to the end. I learned a lot already about logistics. It was super exciting to talk with you. And my last question is, of course, about the future and about innovation. And I would like to know, how do you foresee the future of logistics? Which innovations, for example, will play a role? So how will it look like 10 years from now?
So I think no one really has a crystal ball. So things could be different always. And then if a new big bang is happening somewhere, but I would say it's getting more automated, it's getting more sustainable, and that's a must. It's a precondition. If we are not sustainable, then we will be out of business. And it will be even new technologies are coming. So for example, tube concepts, the hyperloop is somewhere knocking on the door. So having really vacuum tubes bringing things from A to B. We will have more heavy lifted cargo drones bringing things from A to B. Not everywhere, maybe not starting with high usage in Europe because our infrastructure is still too good, but Africa, Australia, America, that might be even first. And of course, also some new, maybe old technologies, I would say, are coming back because I'm a big fan of Zeppelins, so airships, maybe. Even this kind of technology, because very sustainable, lots of volume and weight that they can pick up from the ground somewhere and flying extremely, let's say, eco-friendly for 4,000 or 5,000 miles. And that is these are technologies that are coming. And the interesting part is logistics of the future will definitely not be the same like we see it today. And that's a cool one. So we will see many, many crazy things in the next upcoming months and years.
Sounds exciting. Erik, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.